Thank you for that report, and thanks for watching CTM TV Club News. We hope you've had a
They're preparing for collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna burn all night.
Yeah.
It's just gonna,
They're gonna let it go.
yeah, they're just gonna burn it all night.
No, you hit the arrow
Yeah,
over
they ought to
here.
just shut the water off then, enjoy the fire.
Colleen, you ready?
I'm ready.
You recording?
Well, yeah.
Well,
It's not nice.
most recent agenda.
The marshmallows out.
Kim, you all set?
You're on your own now.
Got
Yeah,
you
I
up on
know,
your
but
computer?
from here I can do
You
it.
know what they call it.
We're up.
Dan, you all set?
Yeah.
Okay, seeing at 7 o'clock, I call the planning board meeting of June 28th, 2017 to order.
16:55.
For the record, we're being televised and taped by Chelmsford Telemedia. If anyone else is recording, please state your name for the record. Seeing none, first item on the agenda, minutes of 3/8, which we don't have, so we'll table that. Next item is a request for endorsement of the Mylars, Cushing Place, Winstanley Enterprises, 150 Baker Ave Extension. Request endorsement of the Mylars for Project 11 Cushing Place. Do we have any letters, Colleen, for endorsement?
Cushing
Cushing
Place,
Place?
I don't think we
No,
have
but
that.
Christina's here. Yeah, you didn't see
No, we
it
don't
for-
have any.
for Cushing Place.
So, has engineering had a chance to review the Mylars, or?
So as of lately, she has just shown me a revision, which I have approved. There's still calculations which need to be reviewed, however, the plans look adequate.
So the revisions, are they gonna change anything on the plans?
No, plans should not change.
Okay, so, you'll submit a letter for the file, for the record, to that?
I will.
Okay, that'd be great. So I'll entertain a motion for endorsement.
I move to endorse the Mylars for 11 Cushing Place,
Subject to a
subject
meeting,
to, subject
additional-
to the information that the engineer tells us is still to be.
okay.
Yeah, put some,
You all set, Ed?
yeah, never mind.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mike, second by Henry, to endorse the Mylars. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 6-0. Next one is 62 Bartlett, A&R 635, request for endorsement for property 62 Bartlett Street.
Yeah, we got a plan. Is anybody here for Bartlett Street?
Or we're looking for endorsement.
Oh. There it is. We got any more?
Three.
Go that way in front of you.
Let me see if I got another one here.
Three of them.
Want to state your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Patrick Flaherty. I'm a surveyor, civil engineer. Need another copy?
We should have enough, I think.
Yeah, we're getting there, we're getting there.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is a parcel that's been it's a little over 6 acres. And we want to get 3 lots out of it rather than 5 or 6. We went to the Board of Appeals with the idea that we could save the stone wall out in the front and just have one entrance to service these 3 lots. One lot has a house on it already, and the idea here is to just preserve the look of the old house. It's a huge house, and to restore it, and then we're going to add a middle lot for the owner's brother to build a house. And the lot, as you look at it way to the left, would be a lot for another family member. So what we did was we asked for a variance on frontage for one lot, the one on the left. It's going to be a big lot. And the one in the middle meets the zoning requirements. It has 150 feet of frontage. And the one on the right has adequate frontage, but we don't want to penetrate the wall that's in front of the house. So we'd like to access through the existing driveway. So that, the reason for the variance was you have to access through your frontage, but we're looking to we got a special permit to access through the middle lot's frontage. Just to maintain the historic look of the whole place.
Nan, you got any questions?
No questions.
Henry?
No. I don't have any.
I'm good. Ed? So lot 2, you say has adequate frontage? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, has 150, 150 feet of frontage.
Getting that by L-ing it off to the front.
Yes.
So,
You see that circular driveway there? They'd
Yeah.
like to, the house, the big house to the right, they'd like to just keep that driveway, improve it. And,
so why wouldn't the, you got a 30-foot wide entrance into lot 2. Why wouldn't you have made that wider? You have plenty of property.
oh, the
in
30,
lot one.
the 30, it's just a driveway though, that's all we needed is a driveway. Just to get it's not a street, it's a driveway to get,
I understand.
Yeah.
It's just you've got a jog in the property line that goes over and over again. So, was there any thought to basically taking this line between lot 1 and 2 that starts at the rear and bringing it straight out?
well, the owner of lot 1 wants to maintain as much control as he can over the looks of this place. So he wants to be able to keep the trees that are in there. There's it's like an island in there, and he wants to maintain that.
Henry
Yeah.
has a question.
The owner is here if you'd like to speak to him, Mark Ellis.
I have one question for you. Where's the utilities in your sewer coming through?
They're gonna come through the gate. There's a sewer manhole, right? Can you see the gate on there?
Yeah, so you're gonna cross one person's property to get to the existing house? I want to ask, is the existing house, the sewage comes right in through the,
Oh, the existing house, the sewer line was put in years ago to the extreme right, so that comes through, they tunneled under the wall. But right now, the existing house has all its utilities
all its utilities?
taken care of.
Yeah, I understand that, but they're not gonna be, are they part of the easement that this
No,
piece
that-
of property you're cutting off?
No, they're not in that easement, no,
Not in that.
no. That easement is for the 2 lots on the left, so they could,
You know what I'm trying to get at, I just didn't want you to cross in somebody else's property to bring the stuff in if we don't have to.
yeah. Yeah, the water comes in almost directly in front of the house. The sewer is off to the right. It was way off to the right.
And your electricity runs overhead coming in?
Yes, it does, yeah. I think for the new lots, though, we're probably required to go underground.
Yeah, that's correct.
There seems to be enough, enough room in there to run a sewer line up. The slope's right.
If you want to say something, you can go up to the mic. This is your property. Yeah, if you're property owner, if you wanted, saw you had your hand up.
Well,
so. You have to go to the mic and say, if you wanted to speak.
I know someone brought up, what we're trying to do on this property is to keep the integrity of the wall, all the trees, and that's why we didn't go for more lots. We only want to put 2 houses on this property, even though we have quite a bit of land. And I expressed to Pat that I didn't want to change that front circular driveway look that has all the old pine trees on it, and that's why we kept the 150-foot for the house that we're gonna be building for my brother quite narrow, so we could keep control of the look of the property. I know a lot of the neighbors have come to me and asked, is everything gonna look the same, you know, from the street? And that's what, you know,
Okay.
us and the neighbors are looking for.
Okay, thank you. Ann?
Yeah, question. Off to the upper left, there's a section a rectangle that is surrounded by, appears to be a stone wall.
Yes,
Is that part of one of these lots?
that's gonna remain with Lot 1. It's gonna be connected by a narrow strip there,
How wide is that strip?
10 feet. Sure, come right up.
Again, we look at this property and the beauty of it. My wife and I and our family, we want to keep that land between those 2 stone bounds so no one can sell it off. I know it's Warren Farm, but you just never know what's going to happen in the future in the Warren houses. We felt it doesn't add any value to lots 2 and 3, but if we could keep it in control of Lot 1, our house, it's a great buffer, and kids can play out there or whatever, but that's the reason why we did that.
So there's no further questions. Entertain a motion. Or you have a question?
No, I'm just trying to understand, the variances for lot 3. So, when you got all this room, why are you getting down to a 30-foot wide entrance to the lot 2? In other words, we're starting to make back lots with very narrow entrances. The way I read the variance, it has nothing to do with lot 1 and 2. And I guess my whole problem is, if that 30-foot read 50-foot, I'd be in favor of it. I'll tell you right now, the way it stands, I'm gonna vote no on this. So that was my question, and that's my statement.
Okay. Do I have a motion for endorsement of the A and R?
I'll make a motion to endorse it.
I have a motion by Glenn. Do I have a second? A second by Henry. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
3-3. So, the,
Why don't we try this again?
it's, an A and R is about frontage and access. And they have the access, and they have, we make no determination to zoning,
Okay,
so,
all right, if you go that way.
But Lot 1 doesn't have access through its own property.
yes, it does.
It's got the variance, it gives it legal access.
They get the
They
variance.
can get access, they can,
You got a variance for the access, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got access.
so,
No, lot 3.
sorry. They have frontage, which they can gain access if they remove the stone wall. So they do have access from the street if they remove the stone wall. Okay? So, this is,
Okay, I'll change, since it's frontage, I'll change my vote if you want to redo it.
okay,
Change my
So-
vote.
start again.
Motion to endorse.
with no determination to zoning.
No determination to zoning.
Second by Henry. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 4-2,
Abstain.
4-1, and 1 abstention. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Getting the best of me here, hang on. Yeah, that goes in there.
Next item on the agenda is 177 and 179 Groton Road, A&R 636, request for endorsement. James Tabor Jr., 6 Lake Shore Drive, Ashburnham, Mass. Request endorsement approval not required plan for the property at 177 and 179 Groton Road.
Okay, what do we got? How many we got? Yeah, we got a bunch. Couple that way,
All right, here we go, guys.
that way.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson, 114 Turnpike Road. I'm here tonight, I'll stand back, so it's a little bit easier. I'm here tonight on behalf of Mr. Tabor, who's here in the front row. This is the property at 177, 179 Groton Road in North Chelmsford. We have also been to the Zoning Board of Appeals. This was 2 lots that became 1 lot when the zoning was updated to RB that required a 40,000 square foot lot. We've essentially just gone to the Zoning Board of Appeals to put it and get approval to put it back the way it was. So the 2 lots that you see here are the same 2 lots that exist on file at the registry today. Just by zoning now, they're not considered one because they were both in the same name. They're now considered 2 separate lots or they would be considered 2 separate lots upon this A&R being filed because of the variances that were issued. So we receive variances for lot frontage, area, and also width.
So you're talking about -12 and -13.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Dan, Henry, Mike?
Yeah, looks pretty consistent with the
Ed?
area.
I think we're fine.
Tim?
No.
Seeing none, entertain a motion for endorsement of the Mylars
So moved.
with no determination of zoning. Motion by Raisback, second by Cole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Any
thank you very much.
opposition or abstentions? Next item on the agenda is 306 Boston Road, A&R 637, request for endorsement, John Swenson Jr., 15 Mill Road. Request endorsement of A&R plan for property at 306 Boston Road. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson, 114 Turnpike Road in Chelmsford. The Swensons are here with me tonight. This is their property that they own right on Boston Road at the bottom of the hill on the left, right before you hit Russell Mill Pond. It's a large parcel,
That's it.
and we'll actually, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, you guys,
Go ahead,
wanna
sorry.
make sure we have the right one.
It's okay. It's a large parcel. We're actually looking at doing 1 frontage or A&R lot, which is shown that meets all the requirements of the zoning bylaw. And the rear lot, which you see here today, is labeled not a building lot because we're actually working on, for your July meeting, a little 2-lot subdivision with a waiver of construction for the roadway. So we'll be in, again, at the end of July with that plan, but for today, we're just looking at cutting out the 1 frontage lot on Boston Road. So it meets all the criteria.
Go to my left again, Leanne.
No
Henry?
questions.
Good. Mike?
Good.
Good. Glenn? Ed? Tim? Okay.
Motion to endorse?
Second.
I have a motion by Cole to endorse without determination of zoning, a second by Mike. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 6-0.
Thank you very much.
You get the motion, right?
Good night.
Next item on the agenda is administrative review. 25 Research Place, minor modification. Taj Engineering requests a minor modification of previously approved site plan of 25 Research Place. Do we have any letters for the record?
Yeah. We'll get there, George.
Not a problem.
Oh, Christ, what a file. Yeah, let me pull the letters out.
This is no small
Okay,
proof.
is this a hearing? No? There's no
This is administrative review,
administrative review, okay, so it's not a hearing.
modification.
There's no hearing notice. Okay, we got the letters. Okay, from the Community Development Office. I have reviewed the project and submit the following for consideration. I'm gonna go down numbers here. 1, 1998, the planning board granted site plan/special permits for the hotel with 105 rooms, indoor pool, and a total of 115 parking spaces. In 2007, the board granted a minor modification to replace the existing indoor pool with a 26 by 36 meeting room. In 2011, the board granted a minor modification to construct a canopy over the main entrance, convert the meeting back into an indoor pool. I think that means meeting room back into an indoor pool. 4, 2017, proposed modification indicates 100 rooms and 114 parking spaces. 5, existing landscaping should be enhanced as appropriate. 6, all existing and new freestanding wall mounting light fixtures should comply with zoning bylaw, not to exceed 4,000 degrees Kelvin. 7, as an editorial note, the Element Hotel by Weston will be a nice upgrade to the Technology Drive, Drum Hill area. Okay, that's Evan Belansky. Okay, Planning Board, Water Department, no concerns, Bruce Harper. That was North Chelmsford Water Department. Okay, this is from engineer, this is from Board of Health, Susan Rosa. Proposed pool should require a full-time lifeguard on duty at all times during operational hours. Susan Rosa, Planning Board. Okay, this next one is from Christina Papadopoulos, Town Engineer. Dear members, this office has reviewed the site plans by Taj Engineering LLC, consisting of 2 sheets dated May 31, 2017. As a result of this review, this office has the following comments. This department shall be notified when work on site is to commence in order to arrange for inspections. 2, no modifications to the drainage design are proposed. Any revision to the drainage system shall be submitted and approved by this office. 3, the dimensions of the parking spaces do not conform to Chelmsford requirements. A waiver is required. 4, a site as-built shall be provided upon completion of work on site. The as-built shall be from ground survey and submitted in AutoCAD and paper form. 5, the proposed sewer work shall be internal and may not require permitting from the DPW, Sewer Division. However, inspection is required to verify that the pool will not empty to the municipal sewer system and that the shower drains will be connected to the internal plumbing. Okay. 6, trench permits shall be filed as necessary per 520 CMR 14, Chapter 82A. The design engineer has received design and drafting review comments from this office. Questions, call the office. Christina Papadopoulos. I abbreviated that. Okay, this is police. No concerns. And I apologize, I can't make out the signature from the police department. Can you?
Spinny. Spinny.
Okay, oh God, I'm in trouble now. Okay, that's it for letters.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Hushman Afshar from Taj Engineering.
You want to make a presentation?
as it was mentioned, this is an existing site. The site has been already approved, and there are some modification and upgrade improvement to the site is being proposed. These upgrades or improvements are removing the existing pool house and replacing it with a larger pool house, and also adding a you can say state-of-the-art modern canopy portico chair in front, which is basically suspended with no columns. And also the overall look and facade of the existing building is going to change as per the requirement of the franchise, which in this case is Element Hotel. It looks very classy, very modern, very nice, and like I said, the canopy, the portico chair, it doesn't have any columns. It's cantilevered, or supported by suspension. As a result of all this, we also actually are adding to the site a bike path, which is the requirement actually of the franchise also. And we are also adding a vehicle recharge station to the site. And overall, in net total area, the dark green areas are the total impervious areas being added to the site actually. So we are taking more impervious area out and converting it to pervious areas. And of course the dark areas, shaded in dark, are the new impervious areas.
Could you repeat that? You lost me. What's the light green?
The light green is existing pervious areas. Let's call it lawn or
pervious.
grass. Yeah.
Landscape pervious areas.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the
And
dark green?
the dark green is the areas which used to be impervious, but now as a result of this modification to the site layout, it is pervious. Lawn, green, landscape. So if you look at these calculations here, the overall reduction in impervious areas is 818 square foot. The drainage patterns, the flow patterns have not changed. So as it was mentioned in the town engineer's comments, which I received a few minutes ago, really we don't have to modify or revise the existing drainage system.
So I'm going to stop you right there. In your application, and I need you to clear this up because I'm confused. The lot size hasn't changed. So you say you've increased the building footprint of 479 square feet. You increased in parking and walkway areas 1,506 square feet. Total increase in impervious areas of 1985. Then you said you increased landscaping areas by 2,800 square feet. So can you tell me how you can increase both, but yet have a decrease?
Well, we are increasing the building footprint area by this much, increase in parking and walkway areas by this much. Total increase in impervious areas is 1,985 square foot. Increase in landscape area is this much.
So then you say you have an overall reduction in impervious.
Yeah,
So
because,
you've increased two things, and then you have a decrease.
yes, because this.
You know, I wasn't great in math, but if you increase two things, you can't have a decrease.
Depends on the quantities. 2 plus 2 is 4, but 3 plus 2 is 5. So it does not matter. You may increase 10 items.
And you have a negative? You have a
may increase
decrease?
10 items, but then you may add 8 items with larger quantities.
So I have a couple people that are a little smarter than me, and I got one's an engineer. Do you understand this?
I have
Can you explain it to me?
I have not reviewed the impervious area per se. However, what I believe happened was he, by removing some of the larger impervious areas and replacing them with green areas, he may have somehow turned out that there's a decrease in impervious area. I can't say that for fact, but that's what I'm understanding. Bushi, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly
Mathematically,
right.
you
Because
can't- Did that make sense?
we are
I
removing.
mean, some of the buildings came down. He replaced them with grass.
Yeah.
Swimming pool's that. That's that.
And he moved the walkway, so there's more grass.
So I want you to look at his application.
Of course.
Because to me, it's two increases and then a negative.
That can't
So,
happen.
so,
Can't happen.
Nan, what do you, in my numbers? you're
Your
comfortable-
numbers are absolutely correct.
Okay,
You
thank
cannot increase both the
things
building, both the impervious areas, and increase the landscape area and keep the lot size the same. It doesn't work.
Okay, I just wasn't sure my math was,
Doesn't work.
It must be in the application.
You're
in
absolutely
those
right.
numbers. There must be something.
it's on the plan too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It just doesn't work.
okay.
Well, the thing is, no matter.
No, I don't want to discuss it anymore. She's going to look at it. I don't want to discuss it anymore.
Okay.
I will take it.
So, okay, you can continue.
So, as a result, basically the entire site will be upgraded. Any paved areas that needs repairs will be repaired, and the whole site is going to look far better than what it is right now.
Won't take much.
What do you mean?
The portable chair out front that's been in steel and plywood for more than 2 or 3 years, that we approved here 5 or 6 years ago, it's not finished. You think that looks nice? That we approved, this board approved that, the special permits, and we gave them a special permit because didn't have the side setback, and the thing's been in disrepair for I don't know how long. That's what I'm saying.
Well, they are coming forward to fix the situation. The
I
problem.
agree, it's gonna be better than what's there now. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I mean,
Do we expect it to actually happen this time?
Anyway, are you all set with your presentation?
yes.
Nan, you have any questions?
I do. Could you identify the undersized parking spaces?
These new parking areas are these one which is in dark, they are 9 by 18. And yes, we will request a waiver for that, for variation with the 9 by 19.
So they're a foot short.
Yeah, can I jump in quickly? Can you make them 9 by 18, 9 by 19? Otherwise, you'll need a special permit, which will add permitting time to your project. You have a foot to move the sidewalk and encroach into your landscaping and still make your numbers work?
I can do that.
If it turns out that your that your impervious and pervious numbers don't work,
Yeah,
you'll likely be kicked into a major modification anyway.
yeah.
So between
Well, we
now and the
can-
next meeting, you can work with Christina to
Sure.
verify.
Sure, that's
All
not
right.
a problem.
So your driveway through there is now 25 feet.
The driveway is as it is, that's
Down,
correct.
down where the undersized parking spaces are.
By the
That's
dark
currently
green.
25 feet wide.
This one here,
Uh,
this one here, this is
Where the
24.
double arrows are.
Where the double arrows are. You
Oh,
have
yeah,
the part
yeah, this
that's
is
24
25,
and
correct,
part that's 25.
That,
yeah.
Would you reduce that to get your 19 feet?
No,
Would
we
you
will,
push it back into the grass?
we will push it probably back into the grass. It's not going to. We have quite a bit of savings here in grass area, so we'll just push it at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, 100, about 100 square foot. I will lose about 100 square foot of my savings. That's fine, we'll do that. We were thinking of compacted cars, but that's fine, we'll avoid all the other issues and just make it 9 by 19.
Can you show me the areas that were counted in the increase in landscape area?
This was a concrete pad. This was a one-story chiller house or something. It was a structure, a one-story structure. This was a concrete walkway, and this here was paved area, part of the parking. This was also part of the concrete walkway. And this area was fenced out. There used to be a fence here, which actually there is. So this was all impervious. So this was also all impervious. This corner was the corner of the existing pool house, which is now lawn, and so on and so forth. This area, this green area, was a concrete sidewalk, but now it is again lawn. Same thing, this area was a concrete sidewalk or a concrete apron, and now it is grass area. Same is situation with this, and also here used to be just a concrete sidewalk. Actually, it didn't serve any purpose. It has no functionality as such, really. It was too wide. So now that is taken out and added to the landscape area. So all these dark green, they used to be either asphalt or concrete. Now they are lawn or landscaping and so on and so forth.
So now the parking in the rectangle to the left of the new pool house, all of the foot traffic has to go across the parking lot to get to the other side of the sidewalk, or is there a sidewalk that is still maintained along the edge of that parking lot?
Here, this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the parking. This used to be there, and this is the walkway.
The
4-foot
walkway.
walkway, right here.
And before it
Sure.
was like 8 feet or something?
Before it was a wide, that's what
It's
I say,
very
it served no purpose, so we cut it into half. Proof is in the pudding.
And all of those together make up your 2,803 feet.
Yes, all of that makes, increase in landscape area makes this much, but then you take out what you added in building footprint and the parking and walkways and so on and so forth, and you end up with a balance of 818 to your favor. We are not touching anything in front or on the sides. So
will the new porte cochere affect the traffic pattern?
Not at all, no. It meets the requirement of fire department, minimum of 13 feet 6 inches. And
Is it supported on the end?
yes, it's attached to the building, and then the front, there are 2 suspended cables holding it. It's very, I was traveling, I took a picture of it from an existing hotel. It looks nice. And I do have a color.
There's a line rendering
Yeah.
on the,
Right.
On the-
Yeah, see, it's attached
Yeah.
to the building in the back. You can call it cantilever, structurally speaking. And then, actually it is not, because it is supported in
Yeah.
front by these cables. Aesthetically pleasing, if I can say the word right.
I think that's all the questions I have.
Henry?
Couple questions, yes. Now, you're gonna be doing the whole facade of the building over, basically, so it's gonna look
Yes,
different.
all around. It's nice glass, glass walls.
And, we had a comment about lighting. What are you doing about lighting on the outside of the building?
It will be wall packed, pointing down with top covers.
Parking lot lights in these areas where you're increasing landscaping or anything else? Are you putting any light poles in there at all, or anything being shown?
The existing parking lot, the site lighting is not being disturbed at all, so it will remain as it is.
We do have a requirement on that sign as far as for what you can do for lighting.
Oh, the zoning requirement? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Landscape plants, I mean, these pictures are great with the palm trees in the front, but they don't last very long in New England.
Yeah,
But-
I was
Yeah.
wondering about that.
That's
Yeah,
very
there is
generic.
that. Very.
Watch out for the coconuts.
Oh, global warming.
I was looking for the room.
I guess
Take
I'm
it.
done for now.
Mike?
Yeah.
Nothing for the moment. Ed?
Yeah. We didn't read a letter from the fire department. Evan, do you know if this has been reviewed by the fire department, or?
I will find out. I know that Dan Katufis was out of the office for an extended period of time, so this may have been during that time period.
I'll tell you my concern, and I'd like to hear a fire department concern, the fire department opinion. Why don't you go back to the facade? Why don't we go back to the facade? There you go. All the way to the left. The new glass front you're showing, very nice, very modern. But it's covering up windows that I'm not sure if they open or they don't right now. So you're covering up sections of the building. Right there in that picture, you're showing 3 areas where you're covering up with total glass facades. And my concern is ventilation of the rooms. How are these rooms heated and ventilated? And how can somebody get out of there in an emergency? So I'd like the fire department to really look at that. Because what you're doing is you're making this a very modern facade, but are we hanging it on a building that doesn't have the appropriate guts to it to handle this type of stuff? That's my concern.
That is not true, because this building are designed according to the rules and regulations and standard procedures by the HVAC engineers, architects, and they are built all the way from Montana all the way to Texas.
Okay.
We will not be the first town to have this building built. So I'm sure if there was any such concerns as you mentioned, the fire chiefs throughout the nation would have, at least one or two of them would have raised
Well,
themselves.
okay, well, I don't know about anything about Montana, all I know is about Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I'd
But
like
some of
that-
these codes are national, they are.
I'd
just
like it
blanket.
reviewed, make
Sure.
sure we get it reviewed by the fire department.
Sure.
Yeah, I understand the codes are national, I know a lot more than I'm saying. What I'm just saying is I want a letter from the fire department that they find this design acceptable.
Okay,
And because I don't know how you ventilate the building, and where you're putting the pool internal to the building again, does it meet all the fire department codes for ventilation and everything else like that? I wanna make sure the fire department is satisfied.
sure.
And that's all I'm gonna say.
Glenn?
I'm good for now.
Tim?
I'm good, thanks.
So, there's one comment I have, and vehicle charging station is right at the driveway entrance. I think it'd be nice if you moved it to the other end of the aisle.
You mean here?
Yeah, because as you're coming in, you know, you are building a nicer building. The first thing people are gonna see is the charging station instead of landscaping in a building. So just a thought. I think that would make it look a little nicer, okay? So this renovation, when this happens, the hotel's gonna be empty? Is that what your plan is?
When this renovation happens, the hotel will be empty,
Okay.
as I'm being positive
So-
not from by the owner.
I would like the same condition as we did at the Radisson, that is, when it's complete, the storage trailers are gone. He's nodding in affirmative back there, so,
This franchise will not accept those kind of.
I live up there, and I looked at 15 storage trailers for a long, long time, okay? And I've looked at that porte cochere for a long, long time. And I'll be glad when it's gone. You can't disagree with me that it does not look nice.
I agree.
Okay? And so it needs some care. And I've been here from when there was a pool, when they took the pool out, they put the pool back in, and now you're doing it again. So I've been here that long.
It's not that it's not nice, it's actually ugly.
Thank you. Okay, choose a word. So, other than that, I'm fine, and I understand Ed's comment. I think the fire department's gotta review it to make sure they're all set. We certainly can make that part of our decision that they're okay. So, this is a minor modification. It's not a public hearing, but if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak, you can come up, state your name for the record. Anybody? Seeing none, that's fine. At this point, the only outstanding issues really is for Christina to do her review and the fire department to do their review. So do we want to finish this tonight, make our decision contingent on those things being approved? Or do we want to
Let's
move
continue.
this? Okay.
Continue.
So I just remind our next meeting is going to be July 26th. Okay,
26?
We don't have another one.
Oh, because the
Works for me.
month vacation.
it's
huh?
a month.
Yep.
So, when was your time frame to, you can come up to the podium. When was your time frame to look at starting this project?
Say tomorrow.
Yes,
Ashok Patel. We actually have 90% of the construction drawings also done. So we're looking to submit them to the departments for the review and permitting next month. So
Building department, you mean?
if you guys can do a continued approval, they'll kind of help speed the process up a little bit for us. Because we want to take the good weather and kind of get the facade work done. That's kind of the goal. Actually shutting down the hotel as soon as the building permits are issued.
We haven't filed yet with building department.
So it's gonna take another probably 4 weeks for them to
Yeah.
review, so.
So you can you file without us having to taking a vote?
Finalized.
As long as the planning board is aware and is amenable to them, filing their building permit plans, their floor plans. This will normally take building and fire upwards of 4 weeks to review, because there's more involved in the code analysis. But the key here is that the board is understanding and is aware that's taking place. Normally, it's frowned upon by other departments who are relying on the planning board approval to then set their technical review into motion. In this case, your issues and the technical building code issues may not be overlapping, other than, Ed's,
Right. Mine is just to make sure the numbers are right.
Yeah, I just
Okay?
want to understand.
I see what they're doing as far as landscaping and parking. I have no problem with that.
So if you entertain a conditional, if you entertain an approval tonight with the conditions, if it turns out that the math doesn't work, well, then they're coming back to you for a major modification. Or the engineer can further revise the plan to make it a minor modification.
Yeah. I think, they're not creating additional 3,000 square feet of building. I think minor modifications is over 500, under 3,000 or something like that. So we're really in a minor modification at this point, other than some facade or construction changes.
So the construction of the facade and the glasswork, those items will be heavily detailed in the construction drawings, which are gonna go to all the departments anyways.
Yeah.
Along with the HVAC systems, I mean, we're actually proposing something that's very modern in terms of HVAC. It's called a VRV. It's a very energy efficient, kind of the latest and the greatest in terms of, we're very quiet in the room. It doesn't, it's a very low energy user kind of system, so.
So, Evan, just to make sure, on the minor modification, what we're looking at is adding the pool and changing some parking. Are we also looking at the architectural changes as well? Is that part of?
Yeah, the architecture, the pool house, the math the site improvements associated with the math, and then administratively, adjust the spaces to make them compliant at 19 feet.
And the additional parking is part of these are additional parking spaces?
Actually, we're going down in the number of rooms, so I don't think there'd be more spaces. We had 105 rooms to begin with, we're going down to 100 rooms.
Yeah.
So probably a technical reduction of 5 spaces along.
They are not additional, no. They're just, the parking spaces
They're
just.
they're being moved probably.
Exactly, in and out,
Right.
They are not, they are not additional, no.
So if the board wants to approve it tonight, I think you can feel comfortable doing that. If you want to continue it.
Mr. Chairman, may I say something?
1 second.
The conditions are pretty manageable, and they're technical in nature. They're not discretionary.
Right.
I mean, it's not as if the board is expressing concerns about design issues.
So let me ask that. Does the board have any concerns about design other than what Ed basically brought up as far as that, the fire department is satisfied with their.
I think they may find that if they're coming in with plans from all over the country, that they're not gonna take and fly in Massachusetts. There's gonna be certain issues that they're gonna be tripped up on, but that's normal.
Yeah.
A normal building inspector, normal stuff that they're gonna have to solve, but,
So,
the code in Montana does not
Just-
reflect Massachusetts, I'll tell
just
you
for
that
an
right now.
yeah, so just for an update, there's a hotel actually built in Lexington, Massachusetts of this brand.
Yeah.
With the same type of facade, basically, so,
Yeah.
I mean, they can be worked around, sure.
And if it turns out that the fire department or building department requires a plan revision that impacts the planning board approval,
It comes back.
coming back.
Okay. Ed?
Yeah, I'd just like to have a note for the agenda so we can see the letters
Okay?
Sure.
at the next meeting. Put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
To make
So
sure
at
we.
least we can,
Sure. Close the loop.
we can hear the letters.
Yep.
So we can close the loop for us.
Okay.
Yeah, George, as far as I can see, there is an increase in the number of parking spaces.
It's noted on the
The
plan.
The more that I look at these changes in impervious area, it's a very convoluted way of describing them. But the bottom line is probably correct. Yeah,
I just want engineering to check
oh,
it.
that's fine.
I wanna make sure the
Yeah.
numbers are right. If they're not
Yeah.
right, it'd be a minor change or whatever it may be, it should be an increase, decrease, net effect. I just want those numbers right. We're not changing the lot size, we're not really changing
That's
no
right.
parking spaces, we
It-
have the landscaping,
Yeah.
we're moving some things around, I got that. I just want the numbers to be right on the plan, that's all. I think
Yeah, I think
Christina
when-
can handle that without any problem with the engineer.
I got a question for Evan. Evan, on one of these letters, it talked about the Board of Health is gonna require a pool guard. Is that something that, a lifeguard? That's not something that comes into the planning board decision, does it?
I wouldn't recommend that you include that in your decision as a
it's just-
condition. If the Board of Health has regulations, then
They-
they can
Do you know
require
if they got
enforce-
regulations,
I believe they do.
or it's state
Because this has come up
regulations?
before. I believe the local
state
Board
or
of
federal
Health.
regulations that require.
The local Board of
Okay.
Health has stricter.
It's a local Board of Health regulation, and they've shown discretion on that depending on the busy times of the hotel. So like you might have a lot of family, let's say on a Friday or Saturday. So they said that's a mandatory time, and then you might not have as many from Sunday to Thursday, for example. So they're actually shown leeway on that
They're gonna-
individually.
They're gonna be required to have a permit with the Board of Health.
So they gotta have a permit anyway from the
Yes.
BOH, and they can take care of it then?
Yep.
Okay, that's
So-
what I'm curious about.
We can, I would not say anything about the lifeguard, I don't think that's.
I'm not
appropriate.
pushing it,
Yeah,
I
no.
just wanted to understand it a little
Yeah.
bit better.
I know there's all kinds of rules and regulations that fall outside this board on that. And, from a liability issue, I'm sure they know what the liability
Yeah.
is. So, they're in the business. So, just quick, you feel okay with,
I'm good with it.
Ed, you feel okay?
I'm okay.
I'm fine.
So, we want our motion to be contingent on, engineering and fire,
19-foot parking spaces.
parking spaces to be compliant, lighting to be compliant, any new lighting to be compliant. Right?
Right.
And then the condition, the same condition that was on the other hotel, on the closing.
Right. The storage
review
container's
that.
gone.
Yep.
Review it at our next meeting.
And 5, that we review the letters at our next meeting. And if there's any, I wanna say pushback from fire or engineering, that they have to come back to the board. Or if there's any issues raised by fire and engineering, they have to come back to the board for subsequent approval to those changes.
Yep.
That's fair.
Engineering and building, I would add in there too.
Engineering, building, how's that? He said that's fair.
Yep.
Okay, so you got those? So I'll entertain a motion to
I guess,
approve.
I get just one little comment. So if the changes that the building requires are within the building, that probably doesn't preview to your guys' review anyway. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So only the stuff that may affect the planning portion of it,
Correct.
I would say? Because I'm sure they have comments on building level that are just regular building level comments.
Correct.
The exterior of the building, size, bulk, parking spaces, that's where we
Right.
come in.
Okay.
Appearance.
There was another thought I just had. Oh,
So is this-
construction schedule will be part of what goes to,
I'll pull the exact language.
okay. Okay, so,
Is this increasing the height of the existing building?
Not the roof line, the roof itself is staying the same. There's one portion of the facade that just, it's not a livable space, it's just a,
same as what he did over at the
Ornamental.
Radisson.
it's an ornamental
Yeah.
signage kind of issue, it's not really, roof is staying the same, 3-story building, so.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the minor modification for 25 Research Place, subject to the conditions we just outlined.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Ed, I have a second by Glenn. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. It's actually a 6-0. It's not a special permit. You'll be coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to,
Anything, coach.
just a comment, so we have been working on the Best Western, which is on Chelmsford Street.
Yeah.
You can see how nice with that facade's coming out, now it's almost done actually, on that two-story side, so I know the past results of this hotel have not been so positive, but I can tell you that it's changing.
You own the
So,
Best Western too?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
You own this other one, the Radisson too?
that's correct.
All the hotels in
You own
town.
everything, oh, wow.
The trifecta.
So it is going to happen.
Hurry up and get it open so you get the hotel taxes.
Well, we're gonna make the town a lot of money, hopefully.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is One Ward Way.
Oh, excuse me. I'm asleep.
Can you put up our
Okay, I got it. Okay.
One Ward Way, JP Rivard requests minor modification of previously approved site plan at One Ward Way.
Okay. I got one letter,
You want the site plan?
one letter.
Slide it.
Okay, this is for Christina Papadopoulos. This office has reviewed the site plan by Place Associates, Inc., consisting of one sheet dated December 2015, revised through May 23rd, 2017. After our review, the plans appear to show an improvement on the existing conditions. The following items are important to note. 1, bollards shall be added around all sides of the above-ground fuel tanks. 2, the dispensing areas must have a level concrete pad with positive limiting barrier installed. No further information is required from this office. Comments, contact this office. Signed, Christina Papadopoulos.
State your name and address for the record.
For the record, I'm Sue Carter from Places Associates. Try to use the mic. This site plan was subject to a CEIOD special permit a year ago. The proposed 10,000 square foot building is under construction. No, the other one. And at the time, Mr. Rivard was going to keep his existing diesel fuel tank in the location where it currently is. We had run some truck turns and they could get around it. Now that the building is up, he realizes he wants some more leeway there. So I'll show you.
Is it here?
This is the existing tank and we're sliding it back. So the existing tank will be slid back approximately 19 feet. So it will be 33 feet off the property line, and under the CEOD, the side setback is 32 feet, so that we're not asking for any additional requirements under the CEIOD. His intent is to take the existing tank and have it sandblasted, refurbished, and reset on a new concrete. Right now, if you were to look at it, it's got it's set in a concrete vault that gives it 110% containment. They will be having a similar vault in the new location. Right now, there's a concrete pad in front of it. The new one will be very similar to what you see in a gas station with the grooves. So if there's any minor leaks, the fuel can evaporate. He also, part of the change, will be putting in a new, it's called a Vader route system, which basically runs alarms back to the office as well as having audible alarms at the tank. And those will give him a couple of advantages. He can monitor fuel levels in the tank remotely. If somebody goes to fill a vehicle and starts to overfill it, alarms will go off not only at the pump but in the office. It'll allow him to do a pressure test of the tank overnight so that if there's any leaks, it'll show up there. Right now, the tank has essentially metal apron around it to keep the weather from getting in it. The new tank will have similar, and they'll be putting a canopy on it. He's just not sure the canopy is going to be happening right off. Current fire code does not require that he have a suppression system like you would see in a gas station. This is diesel fuel, not gasoline, so there are a couple of errors in the cover letter. I apologize for that. I had help on that one. So diesel fuel is less explosive than gasoline. Also, in doing that, we're going to be moving the parking spaces back and cleaning up that area. If you to go out there today, there's some trailers back there, some other vehicles parked back there. The soil is basically very compacted, and some places looks like it's gravel, and if you scuff down enough, you can find there's some pavement under it. So our opinion was that it's a very minimal change to drainage because of the heavy compaction of the soil. So we would request a minor site plan modification for shifting the fuel tank back and refurbishing it.
We'll start this side, Glenn.
I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it looks fine.
Ed?
Just one quick question. The new containment area, it's not gonna have any valves to drain it of rainwater, is it?
No.
Good,
No.
that was the right answer, thank you.
What they have to do is, if it fills up with rainwater and rainwater gets in it, they have to have someone come and pump it out.
That's fine, thank you, I'm all set.
Mike?
I'm fine.
Henry? Fine. Nan?
Fine.
Tim? I'm okay. So, minor modification.
Yep.
Accept the motion.
Second.
Who motioned?
Oh,
Hold on.
I thought he was motioning.
I saw you go.
It was. Okay.
Mike's making the motion to
Yes,
approve
I
the
will make
minor
the motion.
modification for One Ward Way. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Glenn is seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 6-0.
Bada
Get
bing.
there.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
Next one's a continued public hearing, 44 Westford Street, Robert Laporte. Request two-lot definitive subdivision approval and applicable approvals under subdivision control law and rules and regulations.
Yeah, I had printed it earlier.
Oh, yeah, what the heck? That different than the one in here?
No, it's the same.
Same,
was
okay,
just one
pass that
file.
along. Okay, we got a letter to read. All right, two letters to read. I don't think I read this one last time.
No, that's new.
Huh?
That's new.
That's new. You got a good memory. Okay, this is from Mary Ellen and Joseph Christopher, 46 Westford Street, dated June 14th. Planning Board. As an abutter of 44 Westford Street, we would like to add a few points to be considered regarding what we viewed during the televised planning board meeting tonight. That was June 14th. Our house is a house built in 1884, characteristic of the neighborhood. Our view looking towards the Laporte's property is currently mature trees, foliage, stone walls, and the grassy front yard of 44 Westford Street. Our side yard abuts where the new house is being proposed. We can barely see the existing house. Part of the neighborhood charm is the greenery and lot sizes which afford privacy so close to Chelmsford Center. New paragraph. We understand that the land belongs to 44 Western Street, and you will make a decision based on the law. What we are requesting is that there is minimal disruption to the existing foliage. We're concerned that the proposed sewer easement and potential part of the driveway of the new house will cause damage to the existing privacy, and there will be no barrier between our house and the proposed house. We are asking for you to propose a change of plans along the property line between 44 and 46 Westford Street, assuring the existing greenery remain untouched by the proposed construction. New paragraph. The board expressed concern regarding the lots and frontage. Our concern is not only for ourselves and our privacy, but for the town. This lot resides in a historic neighborhood, only 2 houses from the outskirts of Chelmsford Center Historic District. Is this the direction the town really wants to go? Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Mary Ellen and Joseph Christopher. Okay, now we have a rather lengthy letter from KP Law. This was the answer to the question last time. Planning Board, 44 Westford Street, request for a definitive plan endorsement. Dear members of the Planning Board, you have requested an opinion regarding a proposed definitive subdivision plan for the above referenced property. Specifically, you have asked whether the proposed division of the existing lot into 2 lots would comply with the frontage requirements of the town's zoning bylaws. As set forth in greater detail below, it is my opinion that the Planning Board could properly determine that the proposed subdivision would not comply with the requirement of the zoning bylaws, that lot frontage provide accessible and usable legal usable legal rights of vehicular access and physical vehicular access to the buildable area of the lot via the required frontage. Okay, new paragraph. Based upon the facts and information with which you have provided me, the property at 44 Westford Street, known as the property, contains approximately 105,000 square feet of area and is improved with a single-family home. The property's existing frontage is along Westford Street, along the property's northern boundary. The existing residence is located at the rear parentheses south of the property. Okay, new paragraph. The applicant proposes to divide the property into 2 lots. Lot 1 would contain the existing dwelling, and Lot 2 would be a new building lot. The lots would derive their frontage from a new cul-de-sac. However, Lot 1 would be almost bisected by Lot 2, save for a 20-foot strip running along the eastern boundary of the property. This strip would connect the front, parentheses, northern portion of Lot 1 to the rear, parentheses, southern portion of the lot, where the existing residence sits. The front, parentheses, northern portion of Lot 1 appears to be unbuildable, comprised mainly of wetlands. The rear, parentheses, southern portion of Lot 1 would be accessed via a driveway that would begin on Lot 1, but would then bisect Lot 2 before re-entering Lot 1 and providing physical access to the buildable area of Lot 1, where the existing residence is located. A copy of the proposed development plan is attached here too. New paragraph. Pursuant to section 195-108 of the zoning bylaws, the term lot, frontage of, is defined as follows. The contiguous portion of a lot line coinciding with the sideline of a street, which provides accessible and usable legal rights of vehicular access and physical vehicular access to the buildable area of the lot via the required frontage. Said line to be measured continuously along a single street or along 2 intersecting streets if their angle of intersection is greater than 120 degrees. Okay, they had added emphasis to part of the paragraph. Okay, new paragraph. This definition would appear to require that for a road to serve as legal frontage for a lot, such road must provide both accessible and usable legal rights and actual physical vehicular access to the buildable area of a lot. New paragraph. Here, the definitive subdivision plan for the property would provide both lots with sufficient linear frontage along the proposed subdivision roadway, parenthesis cul-de-sac. However, the cul-de-sac does not appear to provide physical access to the buildable portion of Lot 1. Therefore, it is my opinion that the Planning Board could permissibly determine that the proposed subdivision roadway would not provide Lot 1 with legal frontage. If the board so finds, it must deny definitive plan approval, in my opinion. See Beal versus Planning Board, 423 Mass, 690, 695-697, parentheses, 1996. Okay, new paragraph. I do note that the circumstances of this plan are unique in that a portion of the site that fronts on the proposed subdivision way is substantially cut off from the buildable portion of the site. Other than narrow strip of land that I am informed could not be used as an access road due to the presence of wetlands. If the applicant chooses to seek a variance for the frontage definition from the Zoning Board of Appeals, the planning board could choose to allow the definitive plan application to be withdrawn without prejudice or with written agreement of the applicant stayed pending the outcome of the variance request. If you have any further further questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Yours truly, Jonathan Silverstein, KP Law, he's a member of KP Law.
State your name and address for the record.
It's Greg Halladina, 56 Central Square, Chelmsford. I can just cut to the chase. We got this letter from Town Council this afternoon, and what we'd like to do is, as mentioned in the Town Council's letter, request a stay of these proceedings in writing. I have it prepared, pending an outcome of the ZBA hearing, which we would pursue. I can give the written request.
You gonna take it, or you want me
No, give it to me.
to him?
To the Chelmsford Planning Board from Robert P. Laporte Jr., applicant, 44 Westwood Street, proposed two-lot subdivision, definitive, date June 28th, 2017. Please accept this as the applicant's written request and agreement to stay the hearing on the proposed subdivision pending outcome of request for a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Robert P. Laporte Jr., applicant. Colleen, you'll clock this in.
Why don't you give it to me, I'll date it and, again, 6/28.
So let's do it.
So, this is a public hearing. Does anybody from the public wish to speak? Anybody? Anybody? Seeing none. If it's a stay, Evan, I don't close the public hearing, is that correct?
It's essentially a continuance until they come back to the board.
So, I will.
So we'll keep it on the agenda as a standing agenda item. Every agenda will have it.
Okay.
So it doesn't get
So
lost in the
what's
shuffle.
the July meeting?
July 6th.
So,
We table
I-
it and just have it?
well,
Make-
We don't have to
make the motion.
continue it to July 26th. I think the stay, I think, is kind of,
Okay.
I think is a legal term.
so I will entertain a motion to stay the application pending the outcome of a variance request by the applicant of 44 Westwood Street, Robert Laporte, two-lot definitive subdivision. Can I have that motion?
What he said.
I have a motion by Mike. I'm gonna give it to Henry.
Oh, give that one.
Henry made, second the motion. Got that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Good luck.
Next item on the agenda is a new hearing. Do you need a break?
That would be good.
We're gonna take, as, the next hearing on the agenda is Princeton Court Apartments for a special permit. I would like you to come up, set up. We're gonna take a 5-minute break, and then we'll be back to you at that time.
I was.
Yep.
Yeah. Do we have any in here? Oh, it's got water in it, we just don't have any. those strawberries.
Oh, yeah, they're great. He does a good job with them. Well, I should say his daughter does a good job.
Yeah, really.
He passed the ball on.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
24,000 plans to go in. Yeah, she'll disappear,
Promoted her, huh?
More strawberries, where they go in after the season?
Promoted her?
About a couple acres.
Yeah.
I like your strawberries.
It's gonna have a fence around it that's gonna look like Fort
I
Devens.
love ice
Really?
cream, so I like eating these though, like with.
Put them right in with the ice
Losing
cream.
Concertina wire and
I'll eat these will kind of satisfy me with, what's it, the
Pushing
sponge cake?
strawberries
Yeah,
to
yeah.
two-legged or four-legged.
With whipped cream and.
Yep.
a bit of
Oh,
that.
that's the best.
And they asked
It's so good for you, too.
I eat a gelato and I can't, that's why I have to work out. I eat a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
George, you wanna open that hearing, the legal ad?
Yep. Okay, so next item on the agenda is 44 Westwood Street. No, sorry. I'm sorry. Princeton Court Apartments. CO Keening. Did I pronounce that right? 59 to 65 Princeton Street for special permit under section 195-8B and site plan review per section 195-104. Change the substantial, extend a pre-existing non-conforming use by adding 24 multifamily dwelling units contained within 2 buildings to a site that has 19 existing multifamily dwelling units and associated site improvements and any other zoning relief that may be deemed necessary. For the record, because we are short one regular member, the alternate is sitting in on the special permits. That's Tim Shanahan. Please read the legal
Okay,
ad.
legal notice. The Chelmsford Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, June 28, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Chelmsford Town Offices, 50 Billrica Road, room 204, to consider the following applications submitted by Princeton Court Apartments, LLC. Princeton Court Apartments, CO, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, K-Ning, 59-65 Princeton Street, map quarters 13-48-5, for a special permit under section 195-8B and site plan review under section 195-104 to change and substantially extend 2 new buildings to a site that has 19 existing multifamily dwelling units and associated site improvements and other zoning relief that may be deemed necessary. Copies of the proposal are available at the Community Development Department Room, LL01 of the town offices, 50 Billrica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824. May be viewed Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. All interested parties are invited to comment in writing or may be present or may present any relevant information for consideration at the public hearing on Wednesday, June 28, 2017. Per order, George Zaharul is Chair, Chelmsford Planning Board. Okay, now I got that out of the way. Yeah, why don't you? There's a bunch of them. Here, why don't you go that way. All right, okay, I got some good ones. All right, we're gonna read the letters. This is from Susan DeRosa, Board of Health. No concerns. This is from Water Department, Bruce Harper. See attached letter. Okay. This is the North Chelmsford Water District, Washington Street, North Chelmsford. Office of the Superintendent. To the Planning Board. The Board of Water Commissioners of North Chelmsford Water District has reviewed the proposed site plan and special permit application for the Princeton Court Apartments, care of K. King, 5965 Princeton Street, North Chelmsford, to construct 2 new buildings with 24 multifamily dwelling units. The North Chelmsford Water District will supply water with the full understanding that the applicant shall follow the rules and regulations of the North Chelmsford Water District and the Chelmsford Fire Department requirements and agree to the following conditions. 1, each building will have a separate sleeve 2-inch water service and a water meter, and each building will have a separate 6-inch fire service as shown on utility plans dated 3/1/17, stamped Mark O'Hara Jr. 2, each building will be charged an entrance for each unit, 24 in total, and an entrance fee for the square footage of each building for the fire sprinkler service. 3, the two I gotta get this straight. The 2 existing 2-story multi-dwellings, 9 and 9A Princeton Drive, will be retaped and tied straight into the new 8-inch CLDI water main after testing and chlorination is satisfied. 4, the new 8-inch water main will be looped through as shown and tied into the existing 4-inch cast iron water main and connected with a new reducer and gate valve. 5, all materials, inspections, overhead, entrance fees, taping of domestic and fire services, etc., will be coordinated through the North Chelmsford Water District. Bruce Harper, Senior Superintendent. Okay, let me,
You
why
want to take a
don't you
break
do
and I'll
a couple, because I got some long ones.
This is the only one I got, so.
Okay,
Um,
go.
This is from the Department of Public Works. Dear members, this office has reviewed the site plans by Taj Engineering consisting of five dated March 1, 2017. As a result of this review, this office has the following comments. This department shall be notified when work on the site is to commence in order to arrange for inspections. 2, additional drainage design calculations must be provided. The design as shown must be modified, and any revisions to the drainage system shall be submitted and approved by this office. 3, stormwater operation and maintenance plan shall be provided and followed as described in the report. Copies of any inspections or other reports done in accordance with the plan shall be forwarded to the engineering office. The dimensions of the parking spaces do not conform to Chelmsford requirements. A waiver is required. A site as-built shall be provided upon completion of the work on site. As-built to include a letter from the engineer stating that all stormwater devices have been built to satisfy Mass Stormwater standards. Provide all supporting documentations and calculations. The as-built shall be from a ground survey and submitted in AutoCAD and paper form. 6, additional confirmatory testing shall be performed in the areas of infiltration per stormwater management guidelines. The testing shall be witnessed by Chelmsford DPW Engineering Division. All unsuitable material, if any, discovered in the excavation of the infiltration system shall be removed and disposed of in accordance with the state and local regulations. 7, the proposed sewer work will require permitting from DPW Sewer Division for connection to the municipal sewer. 8, trench permits shall be filed as necessary per 520 CMR 14.00, Chapter 82A. 9, the design engineer has received design and drafting review comments from this office. If you have any questions, please contact this office at 978-250-5228. Christina Papadopoulos, Town Engineer, Town of Chelmsford.
Okay, this is from Community Development, Evan Belansky. I reviewed the proposed project and submit the following for your consideration. There's a list. 1, a use variance was granted in 1960 to construct 3 8-apartment dwellings in the rear of 53 Princeton Street. Portions of the property were zoned general business. 2, in 1988, an A&R was approved. It appears as though this plan created a separate lot/ownership for the existing 2 apartment buildings that are currently on the subject property. Current two buildings contain a total of 24 units, 12 in each building. 3, as use variants are no longer permitted, this use is now a pre-existing non-confirming, should be probably non-conforming use, and per section 195-8B, for an extension of this non-conforming use to construct an additional 24 units. Let me reread this. This is now a pre-existing non-conforming use, and per section 195-8B, for an extension of this non-conforming use to construct an additional 24 dwelling units contained in the two separate structures. Okay. 4, the property remains split zone with a small portion towards Princeton Street, Zone CD, and the remaining portion zoned RC. 5, it appears as though the proposed new structure complies with applicable setbacks. Compliance with building coverage and floor area ratio should be confirmed. All existing and proposed parking dimensions and locations appear to comply. A special permit, A7, a special permit for a reduction in parking appears to be required. Clarification should be sought. 8, proposed landscaping should be itemized, including quantity, species, and size of planting. Landscape plan should be prepared and stamped by a licensed landscape architect. 9, ownership and/or condition of existing fencing along property line with Gay Street properties should be verified. Adequate screening, buffering should be provided. 10, providing appropriate fire truck maneuvering was a challenge. I suggest they explore using 50% of the Newfield Paper Street to the rear of the property. The plan proposes using 50% of the existing Paper Street for paved area. Evidence should be provided to verify that the existing rights to Newfield Street and that abutters' rights are not taken away if applicable. In an effort to locate on-site tot lot / play area, I suggest that this paved area should be reduced in size and still provide adequate fire truck maneuvering by reducing the pavement depth from 36 feet to 16. 12, the proposed architectural elevations should be enhanced. Consideration should be given to adding abutters. I forget, I'm misreading it. I'm going to start the sentence. Consideration should be given to adding shutters to the windows and breaking up the siding with other materials. 13, to the maximum extent feasible / practicable, the existing mature vegetation along both side yards should be preserved. A line of do not disturb and / or trees to remain should be added to the plan. Where existing vegetation is required to be removed, new landscaping should be proposed. 14, sidewalks / walkways from the subject property should be connected to the existing walkways of 67 Princeton that extends out to the main road. 15, separate existing conditions plan may be useful. 16, lighting details for both freestanding and wall-mounted should be provided. That's all I've got. Was that all there was, Evan? Pardon?
You bet.
Thank you.
I have one more letter. It's from the police department, Colin Spence, no concerns.
Okay, why don't you give it to me? Thank you.
Colleen, is there smaller sets of plans for us in the file?
Yeah,
You can look in there, I scanned it.
yeah, well, I'm fooling around with this, why don't you?
Is this part of it?
Yeah. That's pile, and
I
that's,
think the other place back.
Previous one, okay.
Bring that one back too.
Oops. Goes to the stand.
The bottom ones.
These? So there's only 5.
Probably gave the rest to other departments.
So we should be getting the smaller plans for the board, because I think we talked about that, not getting the big ones, but the smaller ones.
What do you wanna do?
Just got 'em on here.
There's 6 of us.
Are they the same ones that we have online?
No,
No,
put those in there.
they've been updated? Or
Give
there's
that-
new ones?
Give that to
Or
Glenn
other
and
ones?
Tim to share.
Okay.
Two of them here.
What's going
Gotta
around has
share.
the elevations and I think a
Oh, is that
landscape
two?
plan.
Yeah, the one
I think so, I think they're
online,
different, right?
Yeah.
the updated version is landscape.
Yep, that's the site, that's the building.
Hand in hand.
You and me, okay.
You like it?
One second, we're getting there.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Still one full
yeah,
copy.
what do you want, yeah, take these. They're opened up.
Okay, so then now we need this one.
What do you wanna give me back?
I'm gonna give you this one back.
Okay. They're in the back of the file.
Okay. You wanna state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Hushman Rabshar from Taj Engineering, 7 Montview Road, Chelmsford, Mass.
Okay. Go ahead.
So he doesn't.
This is the existing conditions plan that basically shows the property line, the boundary of this parcel, which is about 1.85 acres. So, as we speak, there are 2 buildings on this property, rental apartment, and this big apron in front, paved apron in front, which is being used as parking, but excessive parking, or there is a lot of room left. And then this is their access. They have a right-of-way, a passageway. They come to here to Princeton Street in North Chelmsford. The pavement, the bituminous driveway continues as you enter to the side and back of the building, all the way to the end of the second building, number 59 and 61. So, the zoning lines are shown here too. This dashed line is the zoning line, and zone RC, if you may, on the left, and zone CD on the right. Zone RC being general residence, and zone CD being general. So, what the applicant is proposing to do is, in nutshell, add 2 more apartment buildings. The one which is colored light dark, these 2 buildings. Each one of them will contain 12 apartment units, so a total of 24 apartment units will be added to the existing 19. Apartments. So, in order to be able to do that, we allocated the parking as shown on the plan. I think we are short 1 parking space, standard parking space, and also we are showing how the fire department can maneuver here to come in and head in, back in, and head out. The dark area, in addition to the building, these dark colored areas are the additional pavements added to the site. And the dark green shows pavement taken out. This is all paved currently. This is all a big, long driveway paved going to the back of the building. It is not necessary. It doesn't serve any purpose. So it's being removed and converted into grass, lawn, pervious. This piece is again part of the existing parking. This trapezoid here, it's converted as a result of the layout, the general site layout, and maneuvering of the traffic circulation in general is being converted into landscape area. However, this piece, ignore that. That is as it is. That is currently pervious.
Good.
This piece, just ignore that. And the light green is remaining existing pervious grass area. Oh,
Excuse me.
okay, this back row here, which, by the way, the letters which was read, I personally haven't seen them, I haven't received them. The memos from town engineer.
We have extra copies someplace.
I'll make sure he gets it.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's not the concept. So I mean, it was interesting to
I
hear.
just have to read them as part of
Sure,
the proceedings.
No, I understand. But, so I mean, some of the things that comes, for the first time it comes to my mind in response to this part of the Newfield Street is not accepted and not constructed by the town. The Newfield Street, the accepted and constructed portion ends somewhere here, where the frontage of these house lots are. So the rest of it, this piece, is not accepted, and again, is not constructed. So I have written here on the thing, this section of Newfield Street, unaccepted, unconstructed, paper street, reverts to abutters, which is a very common practice in Commonwealth, by the way, together with any rights to this section of the road, MGL chapter 81.7K.12 and chapter 82.23. So that's how we extended the boundaries to the center line of this unaccepted, unconstructed road, which reverts to the abutters, and of course the rest of it goes to this homeowner. Now, this is just the general site layout, and of course there are walkways. These are concrete walkways. The dotted, the one which is hatched with dots, that wraps around the building, comes here and here. This is because the exit door, if I understood the architectural drawings right, will be one here at the end of this walkway. So we don't need any walkway here because there are no access, there is no exit door. Same thing with this other building.
Repeat that.
You see these dotted, hatched areas or strip, if I may, around the buildings? Those are concrete walkways.
Yeah.
And they stop in the back at these locations because that is where the exit door or the rear door of the building is proposed. So in between, we left it alone, existing ground, because there is no access to the building in this area, in this piece, from here to here. So,
You just said there's an access door there.
I'm sorry?
You just said there's an access door there.
The access
Your
door-
plans show a shotgun hallway from the front to the back with doors on both sides.
No, the access door is right here when the walkway ends. Where the walkway ends, there's an access door, and here also.
So
where
the
there's-
access door opens to the walkway.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
correct, yeah. So I know, sorry.
3 or 4 feet
English
wide
as a
with
second
6
language.
foot.
Pardon. So,
Which means you can't.
okay,
do
with that, let's go to the utilities and grading. The grading is very, really, I want to say, simple and straightforward. Hardly any changes on site is being made in terms of grading. In the back, because of the slope, obviously we have to build these retaining walls to support the walkways and to support the building. Other than that, some minor, grading is proposed in the back to just control the flow.
So it's not
To
gonna
our
flow down
to
into
our
the front
proposed
yard.
drainage gullies or structures underground. The water line, as we met with the water department and we did exactly what they wanted, which makes perfect sense. There's a water line on Newfield Street, so we looped it around and we bring it and tie it back into the water line coming from Princeton, so it is a nice loop, which is perfect engineering in terms of water line network. The sewer is a little higher, so we are proposing a pump for this back building, which will collect gravity into the pump chamber underground. A E1 pump, which is basically a pump which you put it underground and it collects and pushes through. And this is an existing force main. I heard one of the comments by the town engineer was that this existing force main, assumably, it's 2-inch. Why does it say 6-inch? The records of the town, the records of the water department showed 6-inch. But the town engineer is correct. You cannot have a 6-inch force main, really. But there is an existing force main because this existing building, the sewer is being pumped. So we just tie into it, whatever inch it is, it's working. And since there's a pump here, it will be working. And this next one, the front building, proposed new building, is going to be gravity. We just propose a sewer manhole on line, and that closes that loop. Gas is existing, so it comes to these buildings also on site. And with that, I'm sure I have missed a few things, but this is the area which is paved, and it is taken out, of course, currently paved. This is where the recycle, call that, not dumpster, recycle bin, the big bin, and the dumpster is. So these two figures that you see here, one is exclusively for dumpster, for trash, and one is for recycle.
Are you proposing to keep them the same size as what's there now?
Pardon me?
There's dumpsters there now? Do you have dumpsters on site now?
Sort of, kind of, yes, there is.
And are they the same size as you're proposing in this plan?
We are actually, it's larger, it's bigger.
Thank you.
The applicant, I think, met with the person in charge, and we gave him, we provided what the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all set?
I'm okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Mike looks like he wants to go first.
What is the impact of this on our affordable building counts?
Evan, you want
Any?
to answer that question?
Well, it's not subject to inclusionary.
Okay.
Because it's out of
But I don't know what the rest of the site is, so I would think that would,
There's no deed restricted units on site.
no deed restricted units on site, okay.
Okay. Henry?
So, basically, most of this is gonna be in RC, which is general residence.
Correct.
And
You're making ultimately, the board's required to make a finding of not substantially more detrimental.
I don't see how this could be not more detrimental, but, we need an explanation to show us how this is not more detrimental, because you're basically adding a bunch of units in a residential area. I'll pass for a while.
Nan?
Yeah. These are predominantly two-bedroom units, which means that you could expect to have a lot of children in here. Where do you have outdoor play space for these children, all these additional children? That's safe?
They can roll down the hill. No.
Into the traffic on the road below, yeah.
There's no road below.
Mm?
Yeah, initially, I think when I met Evan, that we want to put a play area. I think in the end, it's just because the fire truck, it just really eat up all the spaces. I think there's one possibility that I think spoke to Evan a little bit. Maybe this area that we could reduce the pavement a little bit, that could be some spaces for play area or patio. If the fire truck can maneuver, I think that's really, we need to verify with the fire.
Okay, just for the record, state your name and address.
Oh, K Ning,
Yeah.
10 South Meadow Drive.
Isn't-
All right, K Ning, 10 South Meadow Drive in Sudbury.
Nan?
Did you have any more?
Yeah, what's the total impervious area for the proposal?
And is it not in the narrative?
No.
Total impervious, well, I can calculate and let you know, but I can say this much, that the existing parking, which is this, is existing. We are adding,
She asked you a question, I want you to answer the question. If you can't answer, that's fine, okay? She asked you if you have the calculation of impervious surface.
I'm okay if you tell me that you'll come back and give us an answer, that you'll go calculate it and
it's
come back and give us
calculated,
an
I
answer.
don't have it right here, right now, but it is calculated. I'm definitely, for the sake of drainage calculations, it's calculated, I don't have it right now.
So, the new roofs, where does that water flow to? And how does it affect the property below it?
It flows into these underground structures. Very modern dry well, if you may. I have a detail for it. Something like this. Roof drain and precast dry well. Crush the stone around it with filter fabric. Around the crushed stone, sitting, hugging, holding the tank.
That's for a start.
They just go drain into that, and these structures recharge back into the ground.
So,
And these are 2 foot 10 inches deep.
Nan, I'm gonna stop you 1 second.
Go ahead.
Okay? Evan, I don't see it. Am I missing it? We're not submittals, we require a drainage plan, and I don't see it. Require a lighting plan, landscaping plan. There's a special permit and site plan. I don't see those submittals. Are they here, or am I missing them?
So drainage, did you receive
I got a drainage plan.
in report?
There's a
Not
drainage
adequate
report here.
Okay, so,
A report,
so the
yeah.
town engineers received the drainage materials that was submitted. I think her review indicates that additional information is required.
Okay.
There's a landscape plan, but additional details are
Needed.
required.
There's no plan specified.
Lighting appears to be, still needed.
Parking needs to be addressed, because they're not up to compliance.
They've noted that they, are one short per their calculations.
Size of the spaces.
It was on there.
What does he have them at, 9 by 18?
9 by 18.
Yeah.
I saw them on there
So they're
somewhere.
Mm-mm, they're
No.
not compliant.
9 by 19.
So that's a good catch. So he has, the proponent has two choices, either make them 9 by 19 or formally request a special permit to reduce them by 1 foot.
Okay. I think, to Henry's point, I think that you all should submit a letter stating why you feel this is not as detrimental. Oh, is it less detrimental? Let me look up the exact.
Not substantially more detrimental.
Not substantially more detrimental to this property.
We are submitting that?
Yes, yes, I'll read you the bylaw. 195-8B, non-conforming uses. The Board of Appeals or Planning Board as applicable may award a special permit to change a non-conforming use in accordance with this section only if it determines that such change or extension shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood. The following types of changes to non-conforming uses may be considered by the Board of Appeals, I assume Planning Board as well. 1, change a substantial extension of use. 2, change from one non-conforming use to another less detrimental non-conforming use. So it's basically is right in 195-8B, shall not be more substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming. And we know that these two buildings were there on a use variance, which is no longer given, which is a non-conforming. So I think that should be part of your submission.
Go ahead, I got some things to add.
Okay, there was one other one. Why don't you go on? I think I gotta think about.
Okay. Minor things, we're gonna need to see a review by the Board of Health and the Fire Department. We don't have any information from them. Two other things, or 3 other things, and this deals with access for me. Since this land was split, I think we need to see a copy of your easement for Princeton Drive. First of all, it's a 14-foot wide passageway. My driveway is 20 feet wide at home. You're asking us to approve another 24 apartments on a 14-foot wide passageway. I'm gonna at least wanna know that you have legal rights over that land. Another one. Engineering or community development mentioned that you should look at Newfield as a possible fire exit. You're already, I'll use the word appropriating half of Newfield where you would butt. I think you need to work with engineering and see if you could open it up all the way to, what's the street up there? Is that Washington or Gay Street?
Okay.
Gay. See if you could open it up so that you would have two means of access to this property.
I don't know if,
No.
I think the water department was talking about looping.
Water department has a main going
I
down
don't believe
Newfield.
fire hasn't provided you a.
No, what, didn't you say something, or engineering say something in the letter?
He said to use half the street for
Yeah,
the
so there
fire.
was, I don't think any of the letters made
Okay,
suggestions, but you're making.
forget it.
Oh,
I'm making the suggestion that you work with engineering. In the last 12 months, we have people that you have used paper streets to construct developments. So why don't you find out if you can open up your development all the way to Gay Street and report back to
At
us?
least for a fire access.
At least for a fire access.
You know, maybe it's a gate with a Knox box on it or something like that.
And that's a start for me. I have a lot of reservations about this whole thing.
So the other thing I had was, there should be a special permit for multiple structures on a single lot, which is in our bylaw. Appears to be no internal landscaping to the parking lot, which may or may not be, correct. I'd have to look at that one more time, but that may be a special permit as well. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done here as far as, this application and this submission.
Snow storage.
Yeah, there's some snow storage, but probably inadequate, so I want a snow storage plan.
A real landscape plan, please.
Has to be, part of our submission is landscape architect, so, you know, I think the key here is that substantially less detrimental. I mean, that's,
Or not substantially more detrimental.
yeah, no, there you go, so.
I can't see how they say it's not substantial.
Maybe the argument can be made, we just have to see it.
No, and it's not us to make the argument. So, Nan, I'm just gonna skip back over to this side.
That's fine,
Okay? Ed,
no problem.
I think I got mine out. Snow, Newfield, the who's what's this for Princeton Drive, the easement for Princeton Drive, Board of Health review, Fire Department review. That starts me off for tonight.
Blaine?
I agree with Ed on the Newfield Street. I think that would make a tremendous difference. You wouldn't be stuffing all that traffic right out onto Princeton Street.
I just wanna be concerned about the neighborhood there. I mean, it's gonna
Yep.
be a lot more traffic into that neighborhood, and there's kids on that street too, so.
back to the
Yeah.
detrimental.
Right, so,
Yeah.
we just need to be
Just
cautious
to,
of
just to
that.
give another way to go instead of dumping everything out in one direction. It's something to think about anyhow.
New guy?
You're up.
Well, I agree with everyone else. I think it's a hard driveway to get out of anyways. Like if you ever try to get out of April's, with being up on a hill, so, and it does seem very tight too for, if you're gonna have kids playing there. Really no area. Okay.
Is that the driveway that has two,
It's got
like,
the,
stone
That's why I was
walls
trying to
next to?
pull it up, but
Yeah, and then it's
it's
the,
very
uh,
tough to see.
Yeah,
I think it's
stone
that one.
walls
the
next to it.
the condos on one side, the left-hand
Yeah.
side,
Yellow, right?
yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right in through there.
on the one side.
On one side,
I think
okay.
that is, yeah,
Okay.
there's one right there.
That's all.
Yeah, maybe I add something that,
Yeah.
just whole project, because, the purpose is really to improve the existing structures, because the current structure and there's landscaping and also the pavement around the building, there's a lot of things wasn't done quite right. So the whole purpose of the project is really to rejuvenate this part of the property, so we can not only adding new new apartments with also doing a lot of infrastructure and also improve the existing buildings. So that's a whole purpose.
So if you can take and put that all in writing with us and submit it in here so we get something to hang our hat on.
Right, yeah. Okay. So yeah, like some of the thing that we talk about, tying the water, and also if the Newfield Street can be used as to divert the traffic, those things, we definitely like to work with the town to get those things done. Right.
The other one, which is minor, but you said that the sewer is gonna be on a pump. We wanna make sure that the sewer is not on the hook for the pump, or maintenance of the pump, because this is a commercial situation where.
Is that on gravity now, or is it on?
They said
pump?
a couple, I don't know, one of the buildings is gonna be gravity, the other one's gonna be on a pump, so I don't know what the two
Well,
existing ones are.
What's the existing? Is it gravity?
The back one is on pump.
What's the front one? Is the front one on gravity?
Yeah.
But why couldn't you pull gravity out of the whole thing?
The grades wouldn't work.
It's lower.
I just don't want the town to be on the pump, it's residential,
Yeah, no,
there's,
no, I
I
get
drove through the property and there's kids playing in the parking lot and
Yeah.
in kind of disrepair, so.
It just seems like it sits 3 or 4 feet higher than the street, the whole project. I don't understand why the whole project can't go gravity. It just doesn't make.
But then by the same token, the sewer connection at the end of that driveway is way up high. So from the front building, you have less run. So you have less run to the point of
Yeah,
connection.
I get
So
it.
you can make the slope work for gravity. But when you want to come from all the way back, if you want to maintain a half decent slope, by the time you get to the point of connection, you can't. So you have to punt it, push it up.
I think I'd like to have you
And-
look
and
into it
also,
to
I'm
make sure
sorry.
you can go with gravity, because I think you can do that in gravity, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm just explaining the existing one.
Okay.
And also there are apartments downstairs, below
right.
grade, so.
Oh.
Oh, so you got apartments in the basement too?
Existing ones,
No, we don't have new one, no. New one, no.
not the new one. You were asking about the existing? This-
No, I was asking about the new.
The new one, same, it's too far away from point of connection, and point of connection is too high up. It's only 4 feet below grade, so.
Saying the sewer connections up here and
Okay. I think there's a lot to be done. Evan, do you have what I think they should do, we communicate?
Yeah,
with
I got the
them?
list. I'll work with the applicant on the getting the request for special permits in writing.
Can I poke in one more thing for Kevin?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to be absolutely sure that there's no applicability here anywhere on inclusionary.
There is no applicability. This,
Two new buildings.
non-conforming uses and structures, the board
Okay.
left out.
It's not
If you
CEIOD.
recall, it was
Okay,
partially
so I got
per.
it. All right.
It's not CIOD, it's not village, and it's
Right.
not.
All right, so there's no way to get that in.
RMZ.
And none of this is,
So,
even though it looks to me like it probably is affordable housing, most of it.
one other thing, and
But-
I would like Christina to look at it, and maybe I'm wrong, but on the plan, it shows the two zonings. It shows what's required, but it does not show what is there, as far as area, as far as, floor area ratio, all those types of things, so.
Yeah, we're gonna need that.
Okay, it doesn't show that.
Quiet.
Shows, right there, it shows the chart RC and CD, and it says, what the minimums are, but it does not show,
Proposed.
proposed. And that's, I was looking for that and I couldn't find it, so that should be on the plan.
I'd have the applicant put that data on there.
Did you get that? The two RC, the zoning requirements you have there, you should have those two plus what you're proposing, what's actually gonna be there with your FAR and all to show that you meet it.
All right, so
Required, provided.
Yeah.
to
Okay.
Yep.
put in the revised plan, right?
So do we continue this? Or do we have to, is this a public hearing?
It is, so I will open it up to the public. Anybody?
Hello, everybody.
Seeing nobody,
Yeah.
I will entertain a motion to continue, hold on, to July.
26.
Tim, would you make that motion?
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to continue to July 26th.
Motion by Tim.
Second.
I have a second by Mike. All those in favor?
Gets his first
Aye.
motion.
Aye.
Your first motion.
Yeah. I like that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. No, I
Colleen,
think
can
that,
you
that's a good move.
Add the rest of the drawings to the website.
Thank
This
you.
is what I have. The drawings are
I think,
8161.
Colleen, I think we can make copies of the smaller plans
Yeah.
and just mail them out to us.
Yeah.
So the same that's I gave you on the link.
Whatever's the most current ones, okay? Please. I think we see it on paper, it might be a little bit easier, and it's small
I
enough to
think it's a
mail
lot
out.
easier on paper.
So, okay, thank you. You have one more comment?
No, thank you. We go home so you can go home.
Trying.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next item is committee reports. And UMass West Campus. UMass West Campus, we met again, and our next meeting is not until the end of July, so we're moving forward. Hopefully moving in the right direction, so. But I have nothing else. Any other committee reports?
I attended the EDC with Evan. We had one presentation on, I think it's the 104 Turnpike that we've already seen.
Those XX.
And then there was another project in there with some discussion. They gave a 15-minute presentation. I had to leave before the very tail end of the meeting, but I suspect that they approved the RFP for the contractor to come in and do some basically consulting publicity work. And hey, you got any more, Evan, on what happened at the EDC? Did I cover it?
Yeah, they're getting close to issuing the.
Oh, they didn't actually do a final approval?
They did, so it'll probably be issued early July.
Excellent, excellent. So those guys are, and, I find it interesting that, we did all sorts of things for amenities up there, but the action that we're getting right now is for housing, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's an interesting thing.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
CPC, 3 grants, Boy Scout project for a walkway, some work at the dog park for paving, and Nan will be interested in this. Letting Fred Miriam buy a printer, or buy a scanner.
A scanner.
Book scanner.
He needs a scanner.
A book scanner.
Thank you.
The historic.
For historic purpose, for the Historic Society. So, and that was about it. There's nothing big at CPC other than that.
Very good. I think that's it. I just want to wish everybody at home a happy 4th of July from the Chelmsford Planning Board. I hope you enjoy your weekend. And God bless America.
And who wants this motion?
Mike?
I move,
Second?
ladies and gentlemen, that we adjourn.
Motion by Mike and second by Glenn. All's in
And
favor?
voted by acclaim.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.